This week's Rich Dick is Jay Leno. The accident-prone former late-night talk show host is lobbying the state government of California on behalf of the downtrodden masses. No, actually, it's on behalf of people who are so wealthy they collect cars. Not stamps or comic books or sneakers or anything, but entire automobiles. Leno is putting his entire chin into getting Senate Bill 712 passed, which would exempt certain cars produced before 1990 from smog check rules. The comedian has put so much effort into it that the measure has been dubbed Leno's Law. Now, under current regulations in the state, vehicles need to get smog checks every 2 years and need to be certified that they are not in violation of smog standards before they're sold. And there are exemptions to this rule already. Models produced in the last 8 years don't need the checks. Neither do motorcycles or electric vehicles. And there's an exemption in place for cars built before 1976, which could capture most classic cars. They're not subject to the smog checks either. And if your car is so old that it fails a smog check and there are no longer parts available to improve its emissions, it can be exempted too. Leno and other rich car collectors want to expand the exemption to cover all cars built before 1990 as well. And then from there, a rolling exemption for any car that's 35 years or older, that they will never have to be subjected to a smog test. Leno's law also removes the requirement that cars need to be insured as a classic car in order to be eligible for the exemption. Now, maybe it's me fighting against the passage of time, but I'm having trouble wrapping my head around the fact that in a few years, people will consider cars built in the 1990s deemed classics and able to evade pollution rules under this law. Or that in 10 years, if this law is passed, the Pontiac Aztek will be exempted too. I'm sorry, but that's not a classic car. Leno went to the state capitol in Sacramento this week and made a deregulation argument, warning that the state's classic car industry will pack up and move to Texas if the smog rules aren't rolled back.
We have the hot rod culture. All the people come here, all the design studios, Toyota, Nissan, everybody, Hyundai, they have design studios in California because this is where the new ideas come from. When Lee Iacocca worked on the early Mustang, he had the horse turn west because that's where the good ideas were. And they're still here. But to see all these ideas leave and go to Texas and all these other places because it's easier to do business.
Yeah, this is the same sort of fear-mongering over regulations that you hear all the time from folks like Elon Musk. Don't tax me, bro, or I'm going to Texas. In this case, it's not even a tax, though. It's literally just taking your car to a service center every 2 years to get it checked out. But to rich car collectors, that's just too much of an imposition. Here was Leno whining about taking his 1989 Trans Am to a smog check.
You know, I have a car I bought in 1989. I still use it today. It's only got 27,000 miles on it. It looks brand new. But to get it smogged, I gotta go, I'm in Burbank. I have to go to Downey. I have to go somewhere to try and find a smog station. How many miles I put more miles on it looking for smog stations than I do driving it. You know?
Oh man, you're saying you have to do that? Every 2 years you have to drive your car to get smog checked? How horrific. Are you going to be okay? The president of the Whosoever's Car Club, which appears to be some sort of Christian faith-based car club, complained to the Victorville Daily Press about how they have to spend a whopping $120 every 2 years to get their classic car smog checked. $120 every 2 years is too much for the guy who, again, collects entire cars. Look, there are countless people in California who have to take their 2012 Honda Civic to work every day and balance raising their family and paying bills. And yet they manage to get their car smog checked every 2 years without melting down and going to Sacramento to lobby the government to be exempted. At the end of the day, what's really driving this is that Leno and other wealthy people who are used to rules not applying to them just don't want to be inconvenienced anymore. That's for regular folks, not people like them. So now they want to blow a hole in environmental regulations. Green groups oppose the measure because they see it as a carve-out to environmental law that can be exploited by people who just want to hold on to older, dirtier automobiles. And currently, the so-called problem Leno's law is trying to address only affects about 1% of cars in the state. Now, I understand there are rich people out there, titans of industry and whatnot, doing far worse stuff and contributing more to global warming than Jay Leno and other classic car collectors in California. But this is all just emblematic of the much larger problem. The wealthy have far too much influence in our government. And while laws that could improve the lives of millions languish in committee somewhere, other measures that only improve the lives of the super rich speed toward passage. This week, Leno's law passed out of the California Senate Transportation Committee with bipartisan support and is all but guaranteed to be approved by the entire legislature and signed by the governor. So while most drivers in California will still have to abide by smog check rules, Jay Leno will be able to drive his 1989 Trans Am around without a worry or hassle. And next, he's going to try to get his dang tank exempted from regulations too. I'm serious, Leno drives a tank around California sometimes.
Sick ass tank!
Go fall down a hill again, Jay. You rich dick. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new videos. Also, if you want to see Means Morning News in its complete form, not just the clips we post here, head on over to Means TV and get access to all our new episodes and our entire backlog, plus tons of other great movies and original TV shows.